Hello there. The following is a gesture health production. Alright, hello everybody. As I said, I was going to do this Lactoferrin. This will be part of the health series. Um, Lactoferrin um, is a minor fraction of whey. Lactoferrin appears to have antiviral, anticancer, and antimicrobial properties that strengthen the immune system and fight disease. Alright? So this comes from whey protein, okay, right here, and appears to function as a natural food against cancer, HIV, overtraining syndrome in athletes, and a host of pathologies. Alright, so I'm just going to skim through this and kind of point things out. I'm going to leave the article in the description if you want to go through and read it yourself. Because there's a lot of things that I've researched independently that I'm going to try and also show you. Okay. If I get to it today. So, okay, so something important right here. Okay, lactoferrin appears to be the subfraction of whey with documented antiviral, antimicrobial, anti-cancer, and immune modulating enhancing effects. There is little doubt that lactoferrin could become the natural compound of choice in the treatment and prevention of a host of human ailments. The following is a summary of what lactoferrin might have to offer. And when keeping this in mind, while it can do stuff even if you've already had stuff, like let's say MS or IBS, lactoferrin can help with those, and I'll go through why either today or next Saturday. Um, but it's best as a preventative. So I want to keep that in mind for y'all. Okay. Okay. So immunity. All right. It has a wide variety of uses in biological systems and is considered the first line of defense in the human body. I was in February, I was having bad allergy infections and um, or not allergy infections, but allergies that kind of led to I could feel like the beginning of a kind of like a sinus infection. Now, when I looked it up, lactoferrin itself ended up taking it away. I didn't need antibiotics. Okay. Yeah, it took it all away, and I will say that I hadn't ever blown my nose as much as I had when I first did lactoferrin. Especially since when I first got it, I had a sinus infection. But oh my God, man, after that was over, I've just felt like better ever since. Um, and the main reason why lactoferrin helped is because when you have a sinus infection, um, the bacteria that cause it utilize iron for food, and lactoferrin takes that iron away from them, and then they basically starve to death. And you will see how iron is such an important fuel for disease. I mean, like cancer, for instance. Um, Cancer can cancer just doesn't use glucose as a fuel. It also uses iron, and that's how lactoferrin can help prevent cancer. Okay, so anyway, so this, though it's a natural component of cow and human mother's milk, lactoferrin is found throughout the human body and occurs in all secretions that bathe mucous membranes, such as saliva, tears, bronchial and nasal secretions, hepatic bile, pancreas fluids, and is an essential factor in the immune response. Lactoferrin is concentrated in oral cavities where it will come in direct contact with pathogens, viruses, bacteria, etc., and kills or greatly suppresses these pathogens through a variety of different mechanisms, which is very interesting, but the best one is iron. Okay. Published studies have examined the use of lactoferrin as a supplement and its effects on immunity and have been quite promising. Research using various animal models, right there, has found that the ingestion of lactoferrin have a direct positive effects on the regulation and modulation of the immune system. Okay, so it talked about how the thing about septic shock is the most frequent cause of death for intensive care patients and the 13th leading cause of death in the United States. 2 studies using healthy human volunteers found the ingestion of lactoferrin derived from cow's milk had positive immunoregulatory effects that were specific to the individual. That is, depending on the initial profile of the immune system of each person. Lactoferrin ingestion augmented the immune response, leading the researchers to conclude the data suggests that bovine lactoferrin may be applied in the clinic to improve the immune status of patients. A similar study using 10 people who ingested lactoferrin concluded these results suggest that lactoferrin administration may influence the primary activation of the host defense system. But when it came to the septic shock, one study examined the immune response to the endotoxin, I'm not going to pronounce this, known to cause severe septic shock, found that feeding lactoferrin to mice dramatically reduced the lethality of this endotoxin while improving immune response parameters. Another study with baby pigs found only 17% of the pigs died when fed lactoferrin and injected with the endotoxin these 2 words, as opposed to 74% of pigs that died without the lactoferrin. That's a huge fucking difference. Pardon my language. Okay, but even more impressive. Okay, now we're going to go into inflammatory bowel disease. Okay. Lactoferrin appears to be particularly important to the health and function of the intestinal tract. Alright? It greatly reduced systematic and intestinal inflammation in such conditions as IBS syndrome and others. Okay, okay. The gastrotract must be viewed as the ecological system in which a balance between both good and bad bacterial flora, microflora, exist. Now, an overgrowth of this bad bacteria in the intestinal tract is known to cause a wide range of severe problems that cause a myriad of pro-inflammatory mediators to be released, causing disruptions throughout the entire body. And this is where, you know, a lot of us have been, or you know, I've been talking about, like, the basic part of your health begins in your gut, and it's one of the reasons why I've mostly switched to eating meat now and eggs. I mean, right now my main diet is I like to take sausage and hamburger and make meatballs, and I'll eat it with eggs, with butter, and that's based. Sometimes I throw on avocado. Sometimes I do use tomatoes, onions, and jalapenos. Um, if I want to make a sandwich, I got this good sourdough bread that comes from the bakery. It's very light. It's really good. But those are some of the things that I've kind of like started doing myself to kind of like reset everything. All right. So, lactoferrin, when fed to animals and human infants, lactoferrin showed dramatic increase in good microflora, which is good. This is what we want. See, a lot of our bacteria from the diet that we have, it induces a lot of the bad bacteria to overgrow, and that's why all these people are getting. That's why they're inflammatory. You know, they're getting a lot of inflammation, and lactoferrin will come through and just change that. It'll reverse everything. Like I've even I've had a lot of issues, mouth-wise. That's just where most of my issues come from. And I've already seen that reverse, although I do use a different toothpaste, and that toothpaste has to do with a toothpaste that has like xylitol in it. And I got xylitol mints, and I also got pre and probiotic mints. But that'll be a different discussion at some point. But anyways, so it increases the good microflora and decreases the bad bacteria such as E. coli, strep, and all these other ones. And it'll give you the desirable intestinal flora for optimal health, immunity, and resistance to disease. Okay, and this has to do with lactoferrin's role with inflammation. It said the possibility that lactoferrin limits the autodestructive inflammatory response presents a new alternative for the future management of systematic inflammation. Some research also suggests that lactoferrin is able to stimulate intestinal cell growth and may lead to a better digestive functions, in addition to its ability to enhance the growth of good microflora in the intestine. There is little doubt that the addition of its immunomodulating effects, this natural peptide derived from whey, has powerful probiotic properties. And that's also something important to highlight is that this comes from whey protein. It's actually a protein separated out of whey protein. So if you're taking whey protein, you're getting lactoferrin. I just take the regular lactoferrin. Okay, so let's go into the antiviral effects, because this is something I found very interesting. Okay, so lactoferrin has been found to both directly and indirectly inhibit several viruses that cause human diseases. Okay, for example, in vitro studies have found that lactoferrin strongly binds to the B3 loop of the GP120 receptor on HIV-1 and HIV-2, resulting in inhibition of virus cell fusion and entry of the virus into cells. So it can prevent HIV. Now, do keep in mind that this is in vitro. They haven't really studied this as like a live virus in somebody. But lactoferrin indirectly kills or inhibits viruses by augmenting the systematic immune response to a viral invasion. It's interesting to note that there is a systematic deficiency of lactoferrin people with HIV, and that is interesting. One study examined 22 asymptomatic and 45 symptomatic patients with HIV compared to 30 healthy controls and found that levels of plasma lactoferrin are decreasing in HIV-1 infected patients in relation to the progression of the disease. Another study found that lactoferrin found in oral cavities of people with HIV correlated strongly with the frequent infections in those areas often seen with patients with AIDS. Lactoferrin was also found to have potent antiviral effects against the replication of both human HIV and cytomegalovirus, I don't know, CMV virus, in several in vitro studies with no cytopathic effects on healthy cells. In addition to HIV and CMV, additional studies have found that lactoferrin inhibits the herpes simplex type 1 infection of healthy cells. The latter is likely to occur by preventing viral attachment to healthy cells via blocking viral proteins. And okay, so it fights against other viruses. Okay, and right here it talks about high quality whey protein supplements contain about 0.5% lactoferrin. That means a 20-gram scoop of high-quality whey protein isolate provides about 100 milligrams of lactoferrin. All right. I take a supplement. It says that you should take 2 pills, and the 2 pills are 250 milligrams. I only take 1 a day. Sometimes, if I do feel down or sick or I feel like allergies are kicking in, I'll take the 2. But so most of the time I take 125 milligrams a day. And the good thing is that it's natural. Like, this is actually something you should be digesting, and pasteurization basically almost eliminates it from milk. Okay, so here's the interesting part. We got anti-cancer effects with this. Alright. I'm gonna check real fast what time I'm at. We've got 18 minutes. Oh boy, time passes when you're having fun with research, right? Okay, I'm gonna probably stop on the anti-cancer effects. Well, I'm gonna go through it, but I'm gonna stop afterward. Okay, so perhaps one of the most promising uses for lactoferrin may be its potential as a non-toxic adjuvant cancer treatment agent. Extensive in vitro, test tube, and in vivo research with animals has shown lactoferrin to be a powerful anti-cancer agent. So 2 studies have using healthy human volunteers ingesting lactoferrin-derived had positive immunoregulatory effects. Okay, so multiple studies using both rats and mice exposed to a toxic chemical, azoxymethane, known to cause tumors throughout the gastrointestinal tract. Now, we'll say lactoferrin provides the best response to the gut, and it really helps with it has a lot of good things, but the 2 key things that the research that I've done that shows the most promising effects is upper respiratory infections and strengthening the gut. but it does so much more, and we'll go. I'll show you how it operates. That's the main thing, but I want to go over a few like this right here. So so throughout the gastrointestinal tract, administered with lactoferrin showed a large reduction in intestinal pulp development. Just as important, there were no toxic effects to intestinal epithelial tissues. Another study found the addition of lactoferrin to cancer-prone mice subjected to cancer-causing chemicals reduced the number of tumors and suppressed angiogenesis, the production of new blood vessels, which tumors need to survive. This study also found lactoferrin significantly inhibited liver and lung metastasis of cancer cells in these animals. In addition to what appears to be direct cancer-inhibiting properties of lactoferrin, additional studies have found it increased natural killer cell toxicity to several cancer cell lines at low concentrations. This shows lactoferrin plays a systematic role in improving immune cell effectiveness to cancer cells, as well as a direct effect through mechanisms that are not fully clear at this time. Yet another study found that lactoferrin to be very effective at suppressing the growth of human pancreatic cancer cells. So much so that the researchers concluded that lactoferrin might become one of the new drugs of choice for the adjuvant therapy against pancreatic cancer. Additional published studies have found both direct cancer-suppressing activities of lactoferrin as well as systematic immune improvements in animals fed lactoferrin with chemical-induced cancers. One study examined lactoferin's effects on chemically induced colon cancer found that no effects indicative of toxicity were noted from the use of lactoferrin, but significant reductions in both incidence and number of adenocarcinomas, or we'll just say tumors of the large intestine, were observed. So reductions in tumors of the large intestines were observed in almost all treatments. Okay, I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to continue this the next time. We mostly went through lactoferrin anti-cancer effects, and it can prevent cancer, and we went over the antiviral effects. So, and when you're researching this, one of the things you want to research and understand, because this is how lactoferrin works, like if you Google it, type in, like, how does lactoferrin take away a sinus infection? And it'll talk about how it takes away iron. It does the same thing with cancer. It takes away the iron. It does the same thing with viruses. It takes away the iron. And you really never really hear how important iron is. And this is just a new realization that I'm coming to in health. But it's not that you need to take extra iron. Don't take extra iron. What you need is lactoferrin to regulate the iron. And that's what lactoferrin does, is it's an iron regulator. So without lactoferrin, it seems, and from what I can understand, it seems like the body kind of mismanages iron, or that it's easy for these viruses and bacteria to get a hold of it and basically cause major problems in your body. But so the next Saturday, I'm going to do the antimicrobial effects, and we'll go from there. I hope you guys like this. Please give me a comment, if you found this interesting. Other than that, I will see you guys next Saturday for this. Wednesday, I still got the articles going. Okay, so we'll be going over, I think, Article 5 on Wednesday, but on Sunday I'll be writing Article 6. Alright, well, y'all have a good one, okay? And this has been a Just Your Lactoferrin production.